Update. Caught my sister in bed with my fiancé. Family forgave them, ambushed me at Christmas, and tried to reunite us. So I ghosted them forever and built a new life. Part 2. My dad called me one evening, casually dropping that they decided to let her come home for a while because she had nowhere else to go. He acted like it was no big deal, like he wasn't inviting the person who had betrayed me into his home while still expecting me to show up for Sunday dinners. I didn't even try to hide my anger. I told him it was a slap in the face, that he was choosing her over me. He tried to justify it saying, "She's still my daughter. I can't turn her away." I snapped back, "Well, she's not my sister anymore, and I don't want anything to do with her." That's when he started his family unity campaign. He went on and on about how we needed to heal and move forward as a family. It was all code for just forgive Dana, so I don't have to feel guilty about letting her back in. I wasn't having it. I told him plain and simple that I wasn't interested in healing or pretending things were okay. "You want unity? Then maybe stop rewarding the person who blew everything apart," I said before hanging up. After that, I kept my distance. I was busy preparing for the move to Indianapolis anyway. I found a place, packed up my apartment, and started fresh in a city where no one knew my family or my past. Leaving Milwaukee wasn't easy. I had good memories there, and part of me felt like I was letting Dana and Ethan win by leaving. But staying would have been worse. Every street, every restaurant, every shared memory, it all reminded me of what I'd lost. Moving was the only way to truly start over. By the time I left, I'd all but cut ties with my family. I wasn't answering their calls or responding to their texts. Even Matt's attempts to stay neutral didn't matter anymore. They'd made their choice by letting Dana back in, and I'd made mine by leaving them behind. I didn't know what the future would hold, but one thing was clear. I was done being the good daughter who always put family first. From now on, I was putting myself first. It was time to rebuild on my terms. By September, I had gotten comfortable with my new life in Indianapolis. Cutting ties with my family had been the best decision I'd made, even if it wasn't an easy one. Work was going well. I'd started to make some new friends. And the distance from all the chaos was exactly what I needed. Then my dad, Chris, called me. It was his birthday coming up, and he wanted me to come home to celebrate. I hesitated. My relationship with him had been strained ever since he let Dana back into the house. But he kept pushing, saying it would be just the immediate family and that he missed me. Against my better judgment, I agreed. The drive to my parents' house was long, giving me way too much time to second-guess my decision. I told myself I was doing this for my dad, even if he had disappointed me. Maybe it wouldn't be so bad if it was just him, my mom, and Matt. When I pulled up to the house, I immediately knew something was off. There were way too many cars parked outside. My stomach dropped when I spotted Dana's car in the driveway. My hands gripped the steering wheel as I debated turning around, but I didn't want to give my dad the satisfaction of bailing. I decided to walk in, keep it short, and leave as soon as possible. As soon as I stepped through the door, my dad greeted me with a big smile, acting like nothing had ever happened. "Anna, I'm so glad you came," he said, pulling me into a hug. His energy was over the top, like he was trying to smooth things over with sheer force of will. I glanced around the living room, and there they were, Dana and Ethan, sitting on the couch like they didn't have a care in the world. Ethan even had the nerve to laugh at something Matt said, as I stood there frozen in disbelief. "Why are they here?" I asked, my voice low but sharp. Before my dad could answer, he grabbed my arm and ushered me further into the house. "Let's talk in the living room," he said. Like that would somehow make this less awful. When we got to the living room, my dad started his usual spiel about healing and family. He sat me down and launched into the speech about how Dana and Ethan made a mistake, but were truly sorry, and that it was time to move forward as a family. Dana, ever the shameless one, chimed in with, "I'm sorry, sis. It just happened." She said it like she'd spilled coffee on my shirt instead of nuking my entire life. Ethan followed up with, "We never meant to hurt you," which sounded even more ridiculous coming from him. He wasn't even trying to look remorseful. I stared at them, trying to figure out if they actually believed their own nonsense. The fact that they thought this was even remotely fixable was almost laughable. I leaned forward, looked Dana dead in the eye, and said, "You're a pathetic excuse for a sister." Then I turned to Ethan. "And you, I hope she cheats on you too. You deserve each other." The room went dead silent. My dad started to say something, but I didn't give him the chance. I stood up, looked him square in the eye and said, "Enjoy your golden girl. Don't call me again." As I walked out, I could hear my dad trying to calm everyone down, saying something about how I'd come around eventually. Dana didn't say a word, and Ethan just sat there. I got into my car and drove off without looking back. My mind was racing. How could my dad think this was okay? How could he expect me to forgive and forget? Like, this was a minor disagreement instead of a betrayal that ripped my life apart? I spent the rest of the day trying to cool off, but I couldn't shake the anger. I kept replaying the scene in my head, wishing I'd said even more. Part of me wanted to call my dad and unload everything I was feeling, but I knew it wouldn't make a difference. He'd already made his choice when he welcomed Dana and Ethan back into his life. That night, I blocked his number. I blocked Dana's too, even though she hadn't reached out in months. I figured it was only a matter of time before she or Ethan tried to clear the air again, and I didn't want to deal with it. For the next few weeks, I kept to myself. Work became my escape, and I threw myself into every project I could find. My coworkers probably thought I was just super dedicated, but the truth was I didn't know how else to channel my frustration. I stopped checking social media too. Seeing pictures of my family would only remind me of what happened, and I didn't need that kind of negativity. I told myself I was better off without them, but it still stung to know that the people I once trusted most had let me down so completely. Eventually, I started to feel a little better. The distance was helping, and I was slowly rebuilding my life. I told myself that I didn't need them, that I could create my own version of family with people who actually cared about me. But deep down, I knew this wasn't over. My dad wasn't the type to give up easily, and I had a feeling he'd find another way to drag me back into the drama. For now, though, I was content to keep my distance and focus on myself. Let them have their family unity. I'd rather be alone than surrounded by people who didn't value me. If they wanted to live in denial about what Dana and Ethan had done, that was their choice. I wasn't going to be a part of it. I didn't know what the future held, but one thing was certain. I was done letting them dictate my life. From now on, I was living on my own terms. By January, life in Indianapolis had become everything I hoped it would be. It felt good to be miles away from the chaos my family had created. I wasn't waking up every day angry anymore. I had space to breathe, think, and focus on myself. That's when Sam, my distant cousin, slid into my messages. I barely knew him. Now comment update to tag you on part 3.